Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hope that you are enjoying this beautiful weather. We're having a great fall spring right now with temperatures in the 70s, and it's more awesome. Thank you for tuning into my REI Secret Weapon, where we continue to deep dive into the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Sometimes you see it, and sometimes you don't because of the filters that I'm using. We're also, thanks to hashtag See Stacy Sunday, we have the action guide. And in the chapter 8 on persistence, the 8th step toward riches, it just so happens that my version of the homework in the chapter aligns perfectly with the action guide. So we're only going to do one chapter of homework, of chapter 8, persistence, right? I was born with a healthy dose of persistence. It's in my astrological chart. I have a sun sign that is a Taurus, very loyal and intentional and forward thinking. And then I have a rising sign, which is Sagittarius, which is the fire in my belly, right? Moving the big bull along slowly and ever so focused on the goal, right? So persistence, unfortunately for you, fortunately for me, persistence is an ingrained quality trait of mine. But persistence is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. The author tells us that persistence is also a state of mind which we can cultivate and train. And this chapter tells us how to do that, correct? So, persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transmuting desire into its monetary equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, makes an irresistible pair. People who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, much that they mix with persistence and place back of their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. Henry Ford has been generally misunderstood to be ruthless and cold blooded. This misconception grew out of Ford's habit of following through in all of his plans with persistence. The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at the first sign of opposition or misfortune. A few carry on despite all opposition until they attain their goal. These few are the Fords, Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Edisons, and many modern day successful men and women. And one day you'll be hearing the Buster family in along with all of these very wealthy and successful families. There may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to the character of humans what carbon is to steel. The building of a fortune generally involves the application of the entire 13 factors of this philosophy. These principles or steps must be understood. They must be applied with persistence by all who wish to accumulate money. Did I turn 2 pages by accident? I sure did. If you are following this workbook with the intention of applying the knowledge, it conveys your first step of your persistence will come when you begin to take action with the 6 steps described in the first chapter. Unless you are one of the 2 out of every 100 who already have a definite goal at which you are aiming and a definite plan for its attainment, you may read the instructions and then go about your daily routine, never complying with the instructions. And remember that knowledge is energy, and you must include the action, right? And so just learning things will not make us rich. It is what we're doing with the knowledge that will make us rich. The lack of persistence can be conquered. It depends entirely on your intensity of desire. The author is checking you up at this point because lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. Moreover, experience with thousands of people has proved that lack of persistence is a common weakness to the majority of people. It is a weakness, though, that can be overcome by effort. The ease with which lack of persistence may be conquered depends entirely on your intensity of desire. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small amount of fire makes a small amount of heat. If you find yourself lacking in persistence, this weakness may be remedied by building a stronger fire under your desires. Continue to read through to the end of the workbook, then go back to chapter 1 and start immediately to carry out the instructions given in connection with the 6 steps in the Take Action section. The eagerness with which you follow these instructions will indicate clearly how much or how little you really desire to accumulate money. If you find that you are indifferent, you may be sure that you have not yet acquired the money consciousness you must possess before you can be sure of accumulating a fortune. Fortunes gravitate to people whose minds have been prepared to attract them, just as surely as water gravitates toward the ocean. In the Think and Grow Rich book and this workbook may be found all the stimuli necessary to attune any normal mind to the vibrations that will attract the object of your desires. If you find you are weak in persistence, center your attention on the instructions contained in the next chapter that focuses on the power of the mastermind. Surround yourself with a mastermind group, and through the cooperative efforts of the members of that group, you can develop persistence. You will find additional instructions for the development of persistence in the chapters on autosuggestion, which is chapter 3, and the subconscious mind in chapter 11. Follow the instructions outlined in these chapters until your habit nature hands over to your subconscious mind a clear picture of the object of your desire. From that point on, you will not be handicapped by lack of persistence. Your subconscious mind works continuously while you are awake and while you are asleep. Spasmodic or occasional effort to apply the rules will be of no value to you. To get results, you must apply all of the rules until their application becomes a fixed habit with you. In no other way can you develop the necessary money consciousness. Without persistence, you will be defeated even before you start. With persistence, you will win. Poverty is attracted to anyone whose mind is favorable to it, as money is attracted to anyone whose mind has been deliberately prepared to attract it, and through the same laws. Poverty consciousness will voluntarily seize the mind that is not occupied with the money consciousness. A poverty consciousness develops without conscious application of habits favorable to it. The money consciousness must be created to order, unless born with such a consciousness. I do not have the money consciousness, but I do have the goal orientation, right? I've been that way my whole life. Find a goal, stick to it, catch it, get it, next goal. Catch the full significance of the statements in the preceding paragraph, and you will understand the importance of persistence in the accumulation of a fortune. Without persistence, you will be defeated even before you start. With persistence, you will win. If you have ever experienced a nightmare, you will realize the value of persistence. You are lying in bed half awake with a feeling that you are about to smother. You are unable to turn over or even to move a muscle. you realize that you must begin to regain control over your muscles. Through persistent effort of willpower, you finally manage to move the fingers of one hand. By continuing to move your fingers, you extend your control to the muscles of one arm until you can lift it. Then you gain control of the other arm in the same manner. You finally gain control over the muscles of one leg and then extend it to the other leg. Then, with one supreme effort of will, you regain complete control over your muscular system and snap out of your nightmare. The trick has been turned step by step. You may find it necessary to snap out of your mental inertia through a similar procedure, moving slowly at first, then increasing your speed until you gain complete control over your will. Be persistent no matter how slowly you may at first have to move. With persistence comes success. And this is why I say that my spirit animal is the tortoise, because I am always moving toward my goal, no matter how slow it may appear to others that I'm going. With persistence comes success. If you select your mastermind group with care, you will have in it at least one person who will aid you in the development of persistence. And why do you think that is? Maybe because someone in your mastermind group should have an innate value or characteristic, personality trait, whatever you want to call it, of being a persistent, stick-to-itiveness kind of person, right? Some who have accumulated great fortunes did so because of necessity, such as myself. They developed the habit of persistence because they were so closely driven by circumstances that they had to become persistent. There is no substitute for persistence. I've been knocked down many times by life, things that I had control over, things that I didn't have control over. But the one thing that never failed was my persistence and my resilience and my resourcefulness, right? There is no substitute for persistence. It cannot be supplanted by any other quality. Remember this, and it will hearten you in the beginning when the going may seem difficult and slow. Those who have cultivated the habit of persistence enjoy insurance against failure. No matter how many times they are defeated, they finally arrive toward the top of the ladder. Sometimes it appears that there is a hidden guide whose duty is to test people through all sorts of discouraging experiences. I'm going to read that again because that's something that I've often wondered. Sometimes it appears that there is a hidden guide whose duty is to test people through all sorts of discouraging experiences. Those who pick themselves up after defeat and keep trying arrive, and the world cries, "Bravo! I knew you could do it." The hidden guide lets no one enjoy great achievement without passing the persistence test. Those who can't take it simply do not make the grade. Those who can take it are bountifully rewarded for their persistence. They receive, as their compensation, whatever goal they are pursuing. That is not all. They receive something infinitely more important than material compensation. The knowledge that every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. In a practical example, right? Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. If you didn't learn it, you're going to make that mistake again, right? So every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. So the next time you face that same decision, the same set of circumstances, the same fact pattern, et cetera, right? You're going to be like, wait, hold on. I remember learning something about this. Let's do this differently this time and actually succeed instead of fail, right? Okay. Important summary points. The basis of persistence is the power of will, or being strong-willed like a Taurus, right? The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at the first sign of opposition or misfortune. That's too hard, or that takes too long, or I didn't know it was so complicated. There may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to the character of humans what carbon is to steel, meaning that persistence hardens us, right? It makes us stronger. The lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. If you find yourself lacking in persistence, this weakness may be remedied by building a stronger fire under your desires. Meaning you might need to revisit your why, your purpose. What are you trying to achieve, right? What is it where are you trying to go? Without persistence, you will be defeated before you begin. With persistence, you will win. Again, there is no substitute for persistence. And those who cultivate the habit of persistence enjoy insurance against failure. Now we're going to take action. We're going to take action to develop a habit of persistence by studying and following these 4 simple steps. They call for no great amount of intelligence and no particular amount of education, only time and effort. Number 1, a definite purpose backed with a burning desire for its fulfillment. Number 2, a definite plan expressed with continuous action. Number 3, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestions of family, friends, and acquaintances. And 4, a friendly alliance with one or more people who will encourage you to follow through with both your plan and purpose. So if you don't have a definite purpose backed with a burning desire for its fulfillment, you want to go back to chapter 1 and start reading, studying, and doing the homework again, right? So clearly you missed a major step. Number 2, a definite plan expressed with continuous action. If you don't have a definite plan, please go back and start working on your organized planning. That's very critical. Not only the planning, but bring your action to your plans. Doesn't do any good to strategize without putting some ass in behind the plan. Number 3, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, meaning keep with your daily affirmations. Keep talking to yourself about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, whom you're going to do it with, how you're going to measure your success, and keep those affirmations coming daily, multiple times a day. Keep the positive mindset, building. And a friendly alliance with one or more people who encourage you to follow through with both your plan and your purpose. I myself, still building my mastermind. I encourage you to do the same. Build your mastermind. Make sure that your mastermind group includes someone such as myself who will help you keep up with your persistence, making sure you're doing your actions as you're supposed to, sticking with your goal and not getting off track and getting lost along the way, forgetting to do your affirmations, forgetting to do your organized planning, etc. So next episode, we'll do chapter 9. Chapter 9 homework is going to be the chapter on the power of the mastermind. So we get to work on that together. A lot of this homework, again, as most of you have experienced, I was already very far along my way. I just needed to tweak a few things. The mastermind chapter, that one's going to be challenging. I'm going to be in with you guys working very hard to figure out where is my mastermind, who's going to be included in that, what are they going to be helping me to achieve, and how we're going to get to our highest and best for everyone together. So that is the rest of our episode for today. Thank you for joining. Please share. If you'd like to bless me, you can send Venmo to Havon Fun with Renee. I also have a PayPal account, groovyrDHD@gmail.com. Or if you run across me throughout the community, feel free to buy me a cocktail, slide some cash in my hand, whatever you feel is appropriate for the value that I'm bringing to you with making this process easier and feeling like you're supported to some level with the content and the homework and making sure that you're on the right track. This is your My REI Secret Weapon, Renee Buster signing out. Until next time, have a joyful and productive day, week, month, year. Go get those successes.